The war between humans and the Zarelian Empire had ended just weeks ago. After years of bloodshed, both sides were tired. Cities had turned into ruins. Families were broken. Both species had lost too much. The peace agreement was signed on the broken ground of Velmora, a planet where many battles had taken place. Now, the peace ceremony was about to begin. Hundreds of human soldiers stood in a long line, dressed in polished armor, clean and sharp. Their leaders stood proudly in front. On the other side stood the Zarelians tall, silver-skinned warriors with glowing eyes and long armor that shimmered like metal stars in the middle of both sides. A large platform was built. Flags of both races flew. It was time for the tradition. According to ancient Zarelian customs, a royal princess must choose a bonded protector from the enemy's army after a war ends. This protector would live among them, learn their ways, and serve beside the princess. It was an old gesture meant to build trust. No one expected the alien princess to take this seriously. Eli Ward, the youngest soldier in the human army, stood. At the far end of the line, he was just 19. Barely finished training. He had never killed anyone. He didn't like war. He had joined to protect people, not to fight aliens. He stood still, holding his helmet under his arm. His eyes were tired but calm. The others around him were older captains, sharpshooters, and combat veterans. He had no medals, no glory, just a name stitched onto his uniform. Then the Zarelian princess stepped forward, Sackler. She was tall and graceful, with a long robe that flowed like liquid moonlight. Her eyes were bright violet. A silver crown rested on her forehead. Many said she was cold, cruel, and proud. She didn't look at the humans with hate, but with careful judgment. She walked slowly past each soldier. Everyone thought she would choose General Locke. He was tall, strong, and had led many battles. Others whispered she might pick Captain Resnick, a war hero known even among Zarelians, but Kylara didn't stop at them. She walked past them all. She stopped in front of Eli. The crowd went silent. Eli blinked. Was she lost? She raised her hand, her silver fingers glowing, and she gently touched Eli's forehead. Her voice was soft but clear. This one, he is mine. Gasps spread through the air. Soldiers looked at each other. Even the Zarelians shifted in surprise. A human commander stepped forward, confused. Your Highness, with all respect, he is just a recruit. Kylara turned her head slowly. Her voice became firm. I did not ask for your opinion. He is mine by tradition. Do not dishonor the peace. He felt his heart pound in his chest. She was serious. Why him? Before he could speak, Kylara took a glowing stone from her belt and pressed it gently against Eli's arm. It lit up and melted into his skin, leaving behind a symbol that shimmered. Softly, the mark of the chosen. He belonged to her now. Eli looked up into her strange violet eyes. She didn't smile, but she didn't look angry either. Why? He finally asked in a low voice. She bent slightly and whispered, because you are not like the others. Then she turned and walked back to her people. Eli stood alone, confused and stunned. Everyone around him stared. He was no longer just a soldier. He was now the alien princess's bonded protector. That night, Eli was taken to the Zarelian cruiser. It was nothing like a human ship. The walls glowed softly with blue light. The halls were silent and the air smelled like strange flowers. Zarelian guards watched him without speaking. Some looked at him with disgust, others with curiosity. Kylara met him in a private chamber. It was large, with soft cushions and floating lights. You are safe here, she said, sitting calmly. You will stay close to me, learn our ways, and speak for your people when needed. Eli stood awkwardly. I'm just a kid, a recruit. I don't even know why I'm here. Clara tilted her head. Hey. Because I saw something in. You were not standing like a hero. You were standing like a man ready to listen. That is rare. I'm not a warrior. Good, she said simply. We have too many of those already. Eli didn't know what to say. He felt out of place, like a toy dropped in a foreign world. Kylara noticed his silence. She added, If you wish to leave, I will not stop you. But know this, if you stay, you will not be my pet or my prisoner. You will be my partner." He looked up at her. "And what does a partner do?" "You protect me. I protect you. Together, we protect the peace." It was too much, too strange. But deep inside, something about her voice made him feel calm. "I'll stay," he said quietly. Kylara nodded once. "Then we begin tomorrow." The next morning, Eli's training started, but it wasn't combat. It was language, history, culture. He met Zarelian scholars, scientists, and warriors. Most treated him like a joke. One even laughed and said, "Is this your mighty human? Looks like he still drinks from a bottle." Eli ignored it. He focused on learning, observing, understanding. Kylara often watched from a distance. She said little but noticed everything. That evening, she invited him to the balcony. They looked over the stars together. "Do you regret staying?" she asked. Eli thought for a moment. "No, not yet." She looked at him. "We'll face challenges. They will try to break you." He smiled slightly. "They've been trying to break me since I joined." Kylara studied his face. "You don't act like a warrior." "I act like me," he replied. She turned back to the stars. "Good." That week, during a public gathering, Kylara was speaking to her council. Eli stood behind her silently. One of the nobles stepped forward. "Princess, your choice is weak. This human cannot even speak our tongue properly. You shame the royal line." Before anyone could stop him, he pushed Eli aside. Eli stumbled, catching himself before falling. Kylara rose from her seat. The room went quiet. She walked toward the noble slowly. Then she spoke in a sharp voice, filled with power. "He is mine. Chosen by the law, marked by my will. Any insult to him is an insult to me." The noble stepped back, eyes wide. Eli stared at her. Kylara turned to him and said calmly, "You may be young, but you are not small." For the first time since the war ended, Eli smiled. Eli Ward was now more than just a human soldier. He was the chosen protector of the Zarelian princess, Kylara, but he still felt like a stranger in her world. He lived in the high tower of the Royal Zarelian cruiser, silver ship that floated like a star across space. The walls hummed with soft energy, and glowing orbs lit the halls. He wore a new uniform made from smooth Zarelian cloth. It was dark blue with silver edges. The mark on his arm, the one Kylara gave him, glowed gently at night. But he was not comfortable. The Zarelians didn't hide how they felt. Many stared at him with cold eyes. Some laughed quietly when he passed. Others whispered rude words in their language. Eli didn't speak back. He was used to being ignored. Even in human ranks, no one had noticed him. He had been the quiet one, the soft one. But now, every eye followed him. Because of KSARI, every day, she met with him in the early hours. Not to train in battle, but to talk. "You will understand our world," she said. "I need you to. You are not here just for protection. You are here to represent your people." "I don't think I represent anyone," Eli said one morning, sitting across from her in a room filled with light and wind from artificial gardens. "They never even knew my name." Kylara looked at him for a long time. Then perhaps it is time someone remembered it. Eli's lessons began. He learned Zarelian history, how their empire had grown across the stars, how their people believed in strength, honor, and legacy. He also learned how they had once respected peace long ago, before fear and war changed them. Kylara was a strange teacher. She never shouted, never pushed him hard, but she always expected his best. One afternoon, she handed him a sword, not like human blades, but a Zarelian training weapon. Light ran through it like glowing veins. "You may need to defend yourself," she said. "I don't want to hurt anyone," Eli replied. She smiled for the first time. "Just a little. Then fight to protect, not destroy." They began practicing each morning. She moved like flowing water, graceful and deadly. Eli stumbled often, but he was quick to learn. One day after training, Kylara sat beside him and handed him a cool drink made from native Zarelian fruit. "You are slow with your hands," she said, "but fast with your mind." Eli grinned. "Is that a compliment or an insult?" "Both," she said with amusement in her voice. A few days later, Eli walked through the royal hall alone. He saw a young Zarelian boy sitting in silence near a large window, watching the stars. His skin was silver like the others, but the face was sad. His eyes were distant. Eli sat down next to him. "Hey," Eli said softly. The boy didn't answer. Eli looked outside. "Back home, my sister used to watch the stars when she felt lonely. She said they made her feel small, but in a good way. Like her problems weren't so big after all." The boy looked at him for the first time. "My name is Eli," he said, holding out his hand. The boy slowly shook it. "I am Kia." "Nice to meet you, Kia." Kia was Kailara's younger brother. No one had told Eli that. He only found out later. When Kailara learned what happened, she looked at Eli in surprise. "He has not spoken to anyone since the war ended, not even me." Eli shrugged. "I didn't do anything, just sat with him." "You listened," she said. "That is rare." Days passed, and slowly things began to change. Some Zarelians stopped glaring at him. A few even nodded when they passed. One of the royal guards, a tall warrior named Vekron, offered to spar with him. "You move like a tired fish," Vekron joked, "during training, but at least you're not scared." Eli smiled through his bruises. "Thanks, I guess." He wasn't trying to win anyone over. He was just being himself. But Kailara noticed everything. One night, during a formal royal gathering, Kailara took Eli with her. The room was filled with nobles, commanders, and council members. All of them wore fine armor and sharp looks. As they entered, a noble named Lord Sarax stepped forward. He was old and proud. His voice was sharp like a blade. "You still bring that human child to the high court?" he asked. "Are we pets now?" Kailara did not flinch. "He is my chosen protector, and he stands with me." "He stands out of place," Sarax sneered. "He has no power, no name he is not worthy of." Our Princess Eli didn't move. He didn't speak, but he felt the heat in his chest. Then Kailara turned slowly. Her voice rang like a bell. "He is more worthy than you, Lord Sarax, because he speaks with honesty, not pride. He listens, he learns. He does not pretend to know everything, simply does his best." The hall fell silent. Sarax stepped back. Kailara looked at Eli and nodded once. Later, as they walked back through the palace halls, Eli said quietly, "You didn't have to defend me like that." She stopped. "I did," she said. "You are mine. You have proven yourself more than once." Eli looked up at her. "I'm still not sure what you saw in me." Kailara answered, "I saw someone who did not carry a sword, but carried hope. Someone who could walk through hate and still choose kindness." She paused, then added, "And perhaps someone who could change more than just a tradition." Next morning, trouble began. A message came through the royal system. A Zarelian outpost had been attacked. The attackers were not human. A rebel group of Zarelian warriors, loyal to a general who refused the peace, had begun to move. Themselves the old blood, they believed Kailara was weak for choosing peace, and weaker still for choosing a human. Kailara read the report with cold eyes. They want to break the treaty, restart the war. "Ah!" Eli stood beside her. "What will you do?" She turned to him. "What do you think I should do?" He blinked. "Me. You are human. You're a soldier. Speak freely." Eli took a deep breath. "If you fight them with war, more people will die. If you try to talk, they might not listen. But if you show them that this alliance is strong not through words, but through action, they'll have nothing left to fight." Kailara nodded slowly. "Then let us act." That evening, Kailara appeared on the Empire's main broadcast. She stood tall, wearing her full royal armor. Beside her stood Eli, wearing his simple uniform and glowing mark. "This human is not my slave," she said clearly. He is not my toy. He is my protector, my partner, and my proof that we can choose something better. Some Zarelians were shocked, some cheered, some were angry, but all listened. Eli didn't say a word on the broadcast. He didn't need to. He stood with her, and that was enough. The royal palace on Zarelia Prime stood like a silver crown against the night sky. Tall towers glowed with soft blue light, and the stars above looked close enough to touch. For Eli Ward, the human soldier claimed by Princess Kylara, this place still felt like a dream man sometimes, a trap. Eli had been on Zarelia for several weeks now. Every day brought new challenges, but Kylara's trust gave him strength. He still didn't fully understand why she chose him out of all the human soldiers, but he no longer felt lost, at least, not completely. One morning, the peaceful rhythm of his new life was broken. A royal guard named Vekran stormed into Eli's chamber. Trouble in the council. Vekran barked. The High Lords are demanding the princess remove you. Eli jumped to his feet, confused. What? Why now? They say. You are the reason the Empire looks weak. Your presence offends tradition. They fear you are her weakness. When Eli reached the Grand Council Hall, he found Kylara standing firm in the center, her violet eyes sharp. Around her stood the most powerful Zarelians in the Empire High Lords. Military commanders, science advisors, and one very angry emperor, her father, Emperor Zael-Varine, tall and cold like ice, stood at the top of the steps. His voice echoed. Across the chamber, you've crossed the line, Kylara, the people whisper. The nobles are furious. You bring a human into the heart of our empire, and worse, you defend him as if he were Zarelian. Kylara did not bow. I chose him with my full right, by the law of the bonded protector. He has broken no law. He has kept every promise. The emperor's face darkened. He is not one of us. Kylara pointed calmly. That is the point. He is different. And he has not once used fear, hate, or pride to earn his place. He earned it by doing what few Zarelians have done. He listened. Eli remained silent behind her, his fists tight at his sides. The room buzzed with angry whispers. One counselor stepped forward. Lord Syrax again. He is a child of war. His kind nearly destroyed us. Eli finally spoke. Or kind nearly destroyed. Us too, he said softly. But I didn't start this war. I don't want another one. I came here to learn, and to help Kylara keep peace. The Emperor's eyes locked onto Eli. For a long moment, the whole room was silent. Then the Emperor said, Let him prove it. Kylara turned sharply. What do you mean? The Emperor raised a hand. A screen lit up behind him. Images of smoke. Fire and broken cities filled the display. There is a new threat, he said. The outpost on Velsharn was attacked by rebels. They call themselves the Old Blood. They follow General Tevra, a traitor, who believes our alliance with humans is shameful. He has taken control of 2 moons near our borders. Eli's heart raced. They're trying to start the war again, I guess. The Emperor replied coldly. And if we do not act soon, others will follow him. Kylara narrowed her eyes. You want me to crush them? No, the Emperor said. I want him to go with you. Everyone turned toward Eli. What? He said, startled. If he is truly your equal, the Emperor said, let him face this threat with you. Let him help you stop the war, he claims. To fear if he fails, he will leave forever. Lada was quiet. Her hands clenched slightly. She looked at Eli. We do not have to accept this, she said softly. Eli shook his head. Yes, we do. Kylara's eyes widened. Why? Eli stepped forward. Because this is how we show them, not with speeches, with actions. Later, that day, inside Kylara's personal ship, the Starspicella sat near the window, checking the pulse rifle they had given him. It felt strange in his hands. It's not like the Earth's weapons he trained with. Kylara entered and sat across from him. You are not a soldier, she said. Not really. Eli smiled slightly. That's what makes me dangerous. She studied his face. You could die, I know. You don't fear that? I fear dying for nothing, Eli said. But I believe this matters. Kalra leaned back, thoughtful. You are still a mystery to me. Good, Eli replied. If I stop being one, you might get bored. Their mission began on the moon of Velsharn. The landscape was red and cracked, filled with sharp rocks and burnt skies. Rebel forces had set up shields around an old fortress built during the war. Eli and Kylara moved with a small Team 3. Royal Guards and Cricks, a Zuralana drone shaped like a metal disc that hovered beside them. The closer they got to the fortress, the more signs of battle they saw: Barone supply units, broken droids, and fresh Zuralan bodies. They're not just fighting humans, Eli said. They're fighting you. Kylara nodded grimly. They hate peace more than they hate war. Inside the fortress, General Taver was waiting. He was huge, covered in dark armor with red glowing lines. His voice came through a speaker, deep and mocking. I see the princess brought her pet. Eli stepped forward. I'm not a pet. I'm her partner. Devor laughed. Is that what they call pets now? Kylara stepped beside Eli. You are a traitor. The Emperor demands your surrender. Devar's voice turned sharp. Then let him come himself? Or better, send the human boy? See if your symbol of peace can bleed. Suddenly turrets opened fire. The fight was quick and brutal. Kylara moved like lightning, her silver spear slicing through enemies. Eli stayed behind cover, helping the guards, using his weapon carefully, not to kill, but to disable. The rebels fought with fury, but they were disorganized. Eli used a Ziraline sonic pulse to shut down their shield controls. Forward into the command center. There they faced Tavor himself. Eli pointed his weapon. You don't have to do this. Surrender. His eyes burned. You think you're better than me, human? You think you've earned this place? No, Eli said. I don't deserve it, but I try to. Tavor screamed and charged. Kylara moved to stop him, but Tavor was faster than expected. Eli raised his arm not to shoot, but to block. Tavor's blade slashed down and was stopped by Kylara's spear. He is mine, she growled, and I will not let you take him. With a powerful strike, she knocked Tovir to the ground. Eli quickly used a stun device to disable him fully. The battle was over. Tovir was arrested. Azarelian forces, watching the broadcast from orbit, had seen it all. Eli had stood in battle beside their princess. He had faced a general and survived. He had not run back in the capital. The mood had changed. For the first time, Zarelians bowed when Eli passed. Children waved. Nobles looked at him with new eyes. Not love, but respect. At the next council meeting, the Emperor stood before the court. Kylara, he said, you have proven your strength, and your human has proven something more rare. Courage with humility. He looked at Eli. You are no longer just her protector. You are now a bridge between worlds. You have my respect. Eli bowed his head. Thank you, Your Majesty. Emperor gave a small nod, but this path is still dangerous. Are you willing to keep walking it? Eli looked at Kylara. She smiled softly and said, you don't have to answer. But Eli did. Yes, he said. We walk it together. The battle on Velsharn changed everything. News of Eli Ward, the human chosen by Princess Kylara, spread across Zarelian space. He had not only survived a fight against rebel forces, but also stood side by side with the royal heir. Even more surprising, he fought with reason, not revenge. He used his mind as a weapon, not just his hands. Many Zarelians still didn't trust him, but now they watched him. Some with respect, some with fear, some with silent hope. Back at the royal capital, Eli was no longer ignored in the halls. Warriors who once looked down on him now greeted him with nods. A few even asked to train with him. Though he was still not as strong as them, he trained every day with Kylara, with guards, even alone in the long silent chambers of the palace. You still swing like a child, Vekran joked one. Morning Eli smiled. Maybe, but the child beat a general. Vekran laughed. Fair. Kalara, watching from a distance, said nothing. But her smile lingered. The rebel leader, General Taver, had been captured, but the fight was not over. New reports came in daily. His followers, calling themselves the Flame of Zareth, were spreading lies across the stars. They claimed Kalara had been corrupted by the human, that peace was a lie, that Zarelians needed to purify the Empire by restarting war. Kalara called her inner circle. Eli was there, seated beside her. "These rebels are growing," she said. "Not because they are strong, but because people are afraid." One advisor growled, "Then let's crush them before they rise." Eli shook his head. "Crushing fear doesn't make it disappear. It just makes it grow in the dark." Looked at him, Kalara asked. "What do you suggest?" "We show them peace is stronger," Eli said. "Not by force, but by truth. Let them see who I am. Let them see who you are. Let them decide." Kalara nodded. "It is risky." Eli shrugged. "So is choosing me." Together, they began the mission. They traveled from world to world, Kalara and Eli, side by side. Not with armies, not with warships, just a small team, a few royal guards, and one loyal AI named Crix, who now floated beside Eli like a silent shadow. On every planet, they met people. On Thraxel, a mining colony scarred by war, Eli helped rescue. A trapped child during a cave collapse, used no weapon, only his bare hands and a broken support rod. The child's family wept, shocked that a human would risk his life for strangers. On Yulran, where distrust ran deep, Kalara allowed Eli to speak in their gathering hall. He told them stories not of battle, but of Earth, of his little sisters, love for the stars, of how his village used to plant trees each spring, how he hated war, even when he wore the uniform. "You see my face," he said. "You see my species, but do you see my heart?" Some did, some didn't. But seeds were planted. One night, after a long journey, Kalara and Eli sat on the roof of a quiet palace on Garel 7. The stars were especially bright there. "I don't think I was meant for this," Eli said softly. Kalara looked at him. "You think you were meant for something smaller?" "I don't know," he admitted. "I just wanted to protect people. I didn't think I'd be this." "You're still protecting," she said. "Maybe. But sometimes I feel like a fraud." Kalara touched the mark on his arm, the symbol of her choosing. "You are not a fraud," she said. "You are a mirror. When people see you, they see what they fear or what they hope for, but you remain the same." Eli looked at her. "And what do you see?" Kailara's voice was quiet. "I see someone I believe in." The next day, everything changed. The royal ship received a secret message. A group of Flame of Zareth rebels had captured a Zarelian transport ship. On board were scientists, diplomats, and one high-ranking council member. The rebels demanded that Kalara step down as Princessor. They would kill the hostages. They had only hours to act. The Emperor from the capital ordered a strike. "Destroy the rebels," he said coldly. Kalara refused. "We will not answer." "Terror with terror," she said. The Emperor shouted through the communicator, "Then you will doom your people." Kalara looked at Eli. "We need another way." Eli stood up. "I'll go." Everyone turned to him in shock. Kalara frowned. "Absolutely not." "You said I'm your partner," Eli said. "Then trust me." Kalara stared at him, eyes full of emotion. "This is not just politics. It's your life." "I know," Eli said. "But I believe we can save them, without killing, without more war." She looked at him for a long time. Then she nodded. "You won't go alone." The plan was dangerous. Eli, Kalara, and Crix would sneak into the captured transport through an old maintenance shaft. The rebels didn't expect anyone to come without weapons. That was the point. Eli carried no gun. It was only a comlink and a small stun device. Kalara carried only her voice. They moved in silence through dark tunnels. Heat from damaged pipes burned the air. Crix led the way, scanning for traps inside. They found the rebels guarding the hostages. The leader, a scarred warrior named Mekros, shouted when he saw them. "Stop! You come near and they die." Eli raised his hands. "We're not here to fight." Kylara stepped forward. "God, you fear change, but killing will not stop it." "You betrayed us!" Mekros shouted. "You brought the human plague to our heart." Eli took a breath. "Then take me," he said. "Let them go. Kill me if you must, but let the others live." Kylara's eyes widened. "Eli," he raised a hand. "If my life is the price for peace, I'll pay it." Silence filled the room. Rebels looked at each other. Mekros hesitated. This was not the reaction he expected. Suddenly a scientist hostage stood up. "This human saved my daughter on Thraxel. You want to kill him?" Another hostage added, "He's not our enemy, he's our chance." More voices rose. The rebels became confused. Divided, Kylara stepped forward. "We are not here to hurt you. We are here to remind you who we are. Zarelians do not fear peace. We lead it." Mekros slowly lowered his weapon. "Go," he said bitterly. "Take the hostages." Kylara nodded. "And you?" He growled. "I will face my punishment." They returned with the hostages safe. No shots fired. No blood spilled. The Emperor watched it all. Lived the galaxy did too. In the days that followed, something began to shift. Zarelians who once supported the rebels began to question their leaders. Warriors who once mocked Eli now asked for his guidance. Peace was still fragile, but it no longer seemed impossible. And at the center of it all stood a young human, chosen by a princess, respected by a people who once saw him as nothing. One evening, the royal court, the Emperor called Eli forward. "You have done what no one else could," he said. "You gave us more than words. You gave us proof." He raised his hand. "For your actions, I name you Star-Bearer of the Crown, title never given to an outsider. It means protector of peace." The court cheered. Kylara stepped beside Eli. "I chose you," she whispered. "But now, they do too." Eli looked at her. "Then let's not let them down." Eli Ward stood at the top of the golden steps of the Zarelian Grand Hall. Behind him, banners of both Earth and Zarelia hung side by side. Below him, a crowd of thousands of Zarelian nobles, warriors, scientists, and civilians all gathered to see the boy who had once been a nameless soldier from a distant world. Now he was called the Star-Bearer of the Crown. But Eli didn't feel like a hero. He felt nervous. His hands were cold. His heart beat too fast. Even now, standing in front of so many, he wondered if he truly deserved this. Kylara stood beside him, dressed in royal silver armor. She looked strong, calm, and proud. "You look ready," she said. "I feel like I might pass out," Eli whispered. She smiled. "That would be very disappointing, especially now." A month had passed since Eli and Kylara saved the hostages without bloodshed. Their peaceful mission had shocked the galaxy. Some had doubted it, some still hated it, but most hope that maybe the war was truly over. Hope that maybe peace wasn't weakness. Hope that maybe the smallest voice could still change the future. The flame of Zareth rebels had lost support. Many surrendered. Some still hid in the shadows, but the people no longer followed them blindly. They had seen something stronger than force. They had seen courage without violence. Inside the palace, Emperor Zaelvarin stood before the Galactic Council. The time had come to declare a new chapter for the Empire. Eli and Kylara entered together. The Emperor spoke. "Today, we rewrite history. Today we recognize that peace is not given, it is earned by them." He gestured toward the pair. The hall clapped, a sound like thunder. Kylara stepped forward. "We do not ask you to forget the past. We ask you to build beyond it, together." Then it was Eli's turn. He looked around the vast hall. Every was on him. "I was just a soldier," he began, voice calm. "I didn't have medals. I didn't have rank. But I had one thing, the belief that things could be better." He paused. "I was scared when Kylara chose me. Thought I didn't belong here. But every day I tried. I listened. I helped. I learned something. That peace isn't made by the strongest warriors. It's made by those who are brave, enough to trust. Silence followed, then came applause, strong and honest. The Emperor stepped forward. Let it be known across all systems. The war is over. The alliance is real. And this human has reminded us what it means to be Zarelian. In the days that followed, peace began to take form. Trade opened between Earth and Zarelia. Cultural centers were built where humans and Zarelians could study, create, and share. Eli helped design a new peace course. A group of humans and Zarelians trained not to fight but to mediate, to protect life, and to carry Kylara's dream across the stars. But not everyone was happy. Whispers of another coup began to rise. A secret faction, more violent than the last, had begun gathering in the Outer Rim. They believed Kylara had gone too far, and that she had given away too much power to a human outsider, and they planned to end it with death. One quiet night, Eli was walking alone in the palace garden. The stars above sparkled like dust on black velvet. He often came here to think. Suddenly, he felt something behind him. He turned and saw a figure in dark armor rushing forward, blade drawn. Assassin, Eli raised his arm ready to defend, but before the strike landed a flash of silver. Solaire. Her blade clashed with the assassin's, sparks flying. The attacker was fast, trained, dangerous. Eli tried to help but was knocked down by a sharp blow to his chest. He gasped for air as Kylara fought alone. Then the assassin made a mistake. He stepped too close. Kylara spun low, sliced across his leg, and knocked him down. She pointed her weapon at his throat. "Who sent you?" she demanded. The assassin didn't answer. He bit something and collapsed dead by poison. Eli sat up, coughing. That was unexpected. Kylara helped him up. "They still fear you." "Or you," he said. "Both," she replied. The next morning, Kylara stood before the Imperial Guard. "We have faced war, rebellion, and now assassination," she said. "But we will not answer hate with hate. We answer it with strength of spirit." She looked at Eli, and with unity. Eli spoke next. "This peace is not perfect. It never will be. But it's real. And we'll protect it not by fear, but by standing together." The guards pounded their weapons on the ground in agreement. That night, Kylara and Eli stood on the royal balcony, looking out at the glowing city. "It's strange," Eli said, "how everything began because of one choice." Kylara nodded. "Among all the soldiers, I chose the youngest, and claimed him as yours," Eli said with a smile. She turned to him. "Do you regret it?" He shook his head. "Not even." "For a second, you've changed us," Kylara said. "And I think we've changed you." "Yeah," Eli said softly. "You made me feel like I mattered, like I wasn't invisible." "You are not invisible," Kylara whispered. "We're seen. You are remembered, and you are ours." The story of Eli Ward became legend. Tales of the human boy chosen by a princess spread across galaxies, not because he was the strongest, not because he fought the hardest, but because he believed when no one else did. He believed that enemies could become friends, that scars could heal, that peace could win. And in the heart of an empire once ruled by pride, a human stood small in size but great in purpose. He had been claimed by the alien princess, but in truth, he had claimed their hearts.